This video demo will show you how to invite and add transaction members into your transaction so that you can collaborate with them within Reesio, such as sharing documents and assigning tasks. So to invite a transaction member, at the top of your transaction dashboard, you'll see an Invite Transaction Member button. Once you click on that, what you'll need to do is select the role type for the transaction member that you'd like to invite. So if the transaction member you're inviting has one of the agent role types, for example, a co-agent, the next thing you'll need to do is to select whether this transaction member is part of your brokerage or not. Now, if the transaction member is not part of your brokerage, you'll just need to enter in the transaction member's name, email address, and if you'd like to add them as a contact, you can select this box here to add them as a contact. Now, if the transaction member already is a contact within your CRM portion of Reesio, you can search for existing contacts, the name of or email of the contact here, and adding the contact that way. Now, let's go back and see what happens when the agent role actually is someone within your brokerage. So if you answer yes to this question, is this member part of your brokerage, you'll have the ability to add a current brokerage member. So you can search for a brokerage member by name or email address here and just select the brokerage member that you'd like to add to the transaction. Now, if the brokerage member is not listed here, you can simultaneously add them to the transaction and to the brokerage. So if you click on Can't Find My Brokerage Member, you'll be taken back to the same step previously where you can enter in this new brokerage member's name, email, and add them to the transaction and also send an invitation for them to join the brokerage. Now, let's take a look at what adding a client role type or third-party role type will be like. So it's very similar if you add either a client role type or a third-party role type. You'll just be taken directly to this last step to enter in the transaction member's name, email, and add them as a contact, or if they are already an existing contact within your CRM portion of the product, you can search for that client or third-party member here. So really simply, you can add transaction members. Once you add a transaction member, let's just call this Alex Seller here. If the transaction member already has a Reesio account, they will be automatically added to your transaction. And this message here just notifies you that when a transaction member is initially added to a transaction, by default, they'll be added into the same transaction group that you're in. We'll talk a little bit more about transaction groups, and there's also a separate video on using groups to manage your transaction members. But this just notifies you that when a transaction member is first added to a transaction, they will automatically be added into your transaction member group, but you can actually use groups and to manage transaction members by moving transaction members in different groups. And you can watch the separate video if you'd like on how to use groups to manage transaction members. But once you add a transaction member that already has a Reesio account, they will be automatically added here into your members section. And you'll be able to see them when you click on the Members tab at the top here, or from your transaction summary panel here on the right, you can click on View All to also get to the Members page at any time. So that's how you add or invite a transaction member. Now, if the transaction member does not currently have a Reesio account, they will need to click on the link from an email that is sent by Reesio to notify them that they've been invited into your Reesio transaction here. And that link will take them to set up their password and that's all it takes. Once they set up their password, they will have a Reesio account, a free Reesio account, because any members that are added outside of your brokerage will have free access to the transaction and have their own Reesio account and have access to your transaction as long as you have a paid account with Reesio. So any new members to Reesio will receive an email notification from Reesio with a link taking them to set up their password, at which point, after they set up their password, they can log into Reesio at any point and go to the transaction that you've invited them to see all of the workflow tasks that you've shared with them, activities that pertain to the transaction, documents that are shared, as well as offer information. Photos, details are only shown to the transaction creating group, and notes are private to the user and their brokerage admin. So your invited transaction members will also be able to create private notes for themselves. However, those notes will only be visible to themselves, and if they are an agent with a brokerage admin, their brokerage admin will also be able to see those notes. And once you have invited transaction members, you can use the internal transaction dashboard messaging system to message other transaction members. So there's lots of great ways to collaborate with your transaction members, and to do so, it's very easy to invite transaction members and add transaction members into your Reesio transaction.